Hey everybody, so today I am doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be doing a get ready with me video, and I have some Q&A I'm going to mix into it as well. So I think that that will be really fun. I'll tell you the products I'm using. I'm gonna be doing like my really basic everyday face, nothing crazy. I'll show you how to do that and then answer some questions that people have asked me just as something kind of different and fun. So if you want to see a really basic, easy, everyday face and find out a little scoop of loop on me, then you're definitely going to want to keep watching. So I thought it'd be really fun to do a Q&A. And if you don't, you want to hop over to Instagram, because this is where I ask the question on the Q&A. Go over to Instagram and follow me at Girls, Goals, and Gong Shows. So the other day I posted a question on there and I had people ask me anything that they wanted to ask. It could be like home related, my business related, it could be whatever, recommendations, you name it. So I had a few of you ask me questions and I'm going to answer some of those and hopefully not talk too much. No promises there. I tend to be a talker. And yeah, we'll just kind of dive into it, and very casual, very laid back, and hopefully have some fun with it. I'm just going to go ahead and get started with my primer, and I just apply this with my hands. I'm by no means a snobby professional makeup artist who's going to give you crap for not doing something perfectly. I am perfectly imperfect, my friends. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on. I love this stuff because it feels like silk. It's like crack filler, fills in any imperfections. Maybe like spackle before you paint is another great way of, looking at it. And I know when I do makeup for people, especially brides, I always tell them to put it on their hands because it does fill in any imperfections. So when you get the ring finger shot, your hands always look better. So that's just a little tip for you. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead in with my CC cream. CC cream is my go-to every single day. I love this stuff. It's a moisturizer. It's got antioxidants in it. It's gonna even out any redness. You can see I have some pink in my skin. If you have any age spots, which I'm starting, like, sad face. It's gonna just help even that all out, but still really, really natural. Plus it has the SPF, which is so important. Obviously, skin cancer is like a very real thing, and I'm seeing more and more people getting it. And I grew up in the age of the tanning beds, and that's slightly terrifying because I just remember laying there frying like a piece of bacon. It's just terrible. I can't believe how trendy it was at one time. I put the drops on my foundation brush like this, and then I just kind of like give myself chicken pox. And then you can like stipple it in like this, or you can like buff it in. I kind of like buffing it into my skin because I just feel like it looks really natural. Don't forget your ears. That's another thing I see all the time. Like, people forget to do their ears. And then it's like your face and then ears. Like, we want to be one seamless thing. One of the questions that I received was people was wondering where I got my name over on Instagram and also with my blog. So again, I'm over on Instagram at Girls, Goals, and Gong Shows. And I also write a blog that is called the same thing, Girls, Goals, and Gongshows.com. The girls comes from the fact that I have all daughters. I'm a mom of 3 girls. My life is very much a stay-at-home mom before anything else. My husband is gone half the year with business. I'm like kind of a solo parent. Well, I am a solo parent like half the year, and I'm raising 3 daughters. That's where that comes from, because a lot of what I share over on Instagram, a lot of who I am, a lot of my blog, I talk a lot about that. So that's where the girls comes from. Goals obviously comes from like my business goals, life goals, mostly business goals, blogging goals, and just all that type of stuff. I'm a woman with goals. That's where that comes from. And then Gong Show is a Canadian term that my husband, who's Canadian, taught me a long time ago. And it's kind of like, just think of like Gong Show as like a bloody disaster or a dumpster fire. I put that in there because I am definitely not like a perfect person. Again, perfectly imperfect. And I don't pretend to be. Like, I embrace the chaos. I embrace the dumpster fires. I embrace the constant screw ups because that's part of life, and that's part of being a mom, and that's part of being a business owner. That's just part of life, like I said. And so that's where the Gong Shows come from, because I do have some pretty funny stories. You'll see them over on my blog, and just like random stuff happens, and life's a gong show, and I embrace that, and that's very much part of who I am. You know me, I'm all about authenticity. So that's where it comes from. So girls, goals, and gong shows is really a great little statement of my life, at least at this point in time. So that's where that comes from. And that, like I said, that was one of the questions that somebody asked me, which is a really good question. If you don't know what a gong show is, you can just look it up and read about it, and you'll be like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, so I've been brushing my face for a while. That was fun. I'm gonna go ahead and do my concealer. I'm anemic, so I tend to get pretty dark under eye circles. They're not too bad right now, actually. And I just like to conceal and kind of highlight at the same time. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that really quickly. A question I got asked too is my content, like when I post or, you know, up to YouTube especially, like sometimes people get a little antsy and they're like, well, where are you? Why do you disappear? That type of stuff. And I think that, sorry, I'm just doing my concealer. I have to think about this. I don't want to screw this up. Very important step. Sometimes like life pulls me in different direction. And like I said, so I solo parent for half the year, you guys. Like this is, I know you can't take me seriously right now, right? I just use my ring finger, by the way, to blend all this in. I solo parent for half the year, and I have never, ever claimed that my business is more important than my babies. I started my business because of my babies and the flexibility of being a stay-at-home mom while still being able to have something else for myself. It never came first. It was never about the money. It still is definitely not. It is truly a side hustle for me. And it took off. Like things happened really fast for me, which was awesome. And I was able to move into leadership very quickly and do some pretty phenomenal things. But if I disappear, I'm usually like in major momming mode, or there's something else going on in my life. Or truth be told, I might just be uninspired. And I think that's worth talking about just for a second. And to anybody watching who has a small business or a side hustle or whatever, sometimes you're uninspired, you guys, and you know what? It's okay. That doesn't mean you're a failure. Like sometimes I'm uninspired. Sometimes I'm not as inspired as I am at other times. Sometimes I'm on fire and unstoppable. Sometimes I'm not. And that's okay too. And I'm not going to just pump out content that's crap. That is so not who I am. I want to give quality content. I want to give authentic content. I want to give content that's going to add value to your business. I'm not going to just give you something that's not good, because that makes me look bad and it's not fair to you guys. Like I want you to trust me. And so if I do ever disappear for a little bit, it's either because I'm like major momming mode or I'm just like not inspired at the moment, and that's okay. Like, you know, that's okay. It goes in cycles. That's part of life. So I just used Ivory 2 pressed powder. I'm setting my concealer. Sorry. I get talking. So that's kind of the answer to that one. Now I just want to show you, this is the new bronzer that just launched. It's Gilded Glow. It's kind of the lighter one, which is better for me. So it looks like that. It's kind of like marbled. And I do my bronzer like this. I'm going to kind of do a 3. Don't come down too far. Like just going to hit the hollows of your cheeks a little bit, sweep on the jawline, go down, and then like floop down the nose a little bit, just like that. Okay. So I had somebody else ask me why I started a side hustle. I started a side hustle because at the time I was living in a town of 500 people. That included the cats and the dogs. I was pregnant with my second child. It was like mage pregnant. I had a little 1-year-old running around. My girls are like Irish twins. They're super close together. Look at that. Hello, Lord. It was not about the money. It wasn't anything like that. It was just kind of like a sense of self. Like I felt like I had more to give. And especially in that little tiny town, nobody really knew who I was. Like I was only known as my daughter's mom or my husband's wife. Like that was it. I was Curtis's wife. People didn't even know my name. I really didn't like that. That's not who I am. So I wanted to start something for myself that was very uniquely my own, but at the same time flexible enough that I could be still a stay-at-home mom and do all the kind of mom things that I wanted to do. That's why I got into it. And that's really why I started. You know, I don't know if anybody's ever had that. Like you have those moments where you're just like, you just feel like you're kind of drowning a little bit. It wasn't like depression, and it wasn't like I needed counseling or anything. It was just like I had more to give and I was trying to find a way to do it, and this kind of fell into my lap, to be honest. So that's why I started my side hustle and never looked back. It's been really awesome. So I'm using our volumizing brow tint to just fill in my eyebrows. If I was going out like date night or, you know, an event of some sort, I would fill them with, I actually use like a mineral eyeshadow, to be honest, and then put this over top, but I am just going to fill with these right now. I mean, like, look at how awesome this is. Oh, like swipe, swipe, hooray. I love it. Sweeping it on, sweeping it on. Another question I got asked that's not like business or anything like that related that I really liked was what's my favorite childhood memory? And I have so many childhood memories, and that was like a really hard one for me to hammer out. But I know right away one of my favorite childhood memories that I think about is I used to stay over at my grandma's a lot. I am an only child, and I was the only grandchild in the same area. Like the other grandkids lived elsewhere. And so I was like incredibly close to my grandma. And so when my parents would like go out or do whatever, I would go to my grandma's and spend the night. And then I just started spending the night like every Friday night because we were like really good friends. I was a big reader. I still am. And I loved reading. And so I remember go to my grandma's, and I loved her house. It was 2-story, and she would still be downstairs like watching the news. She always watched the news until the sports came on. So it was like until 10:20. I would be able to go upstairs reading until she came upstairs, and sometimes she'd even let me stay up later than that. I would read and read, and then there was this little, like, it was my uncle's old room, and it was like a single bed, and there was a window right to my side, and then there was a little lamp that was up here, and I'd read with this little nightlight lamp. And I just remember poring over so many books, and it was Jacob Have I Loved, for some reason really sticks in my mind. I remember like crushing that book. I think I read it almost in one night there. All the Wrinkle in Time books from that series, I think there was like 4 of them. The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings trilogy, very impressionable books in my life I was reading at her house. And I remember if I was up too late, she'd knock, because her bedroom was right behind me, and she'd knock on the wall and tell me to turn out the light and go to bed. And that's just like stapled in my mind as a very fond memory from my childhood. Another one is my mom, dad, and I went every single year to this tiny little resort in Wisconsin. It was not glamorous or fabulous by any means, but it was my favorite, and I still love it there. And they had peacocks at this resort. Like, we're in the middle of Wisconsin, you guys. They had peacocks there and a lake, and it was so safe. I would just like wander around, and like my parents didn't care. They had like arcade there. I'd be swimming. I'd be exploring, looking for peacock feathers, and just like find them wherever they were. It was just a really cool place to go and to explore and to be as a younger child. And I really loved it there. Okay, I'm sorry. I just put Beach Blonde all over my eyelids. That's what I was doing with my ring finger. And now I'm going in with our new liquid eyeshadow in Light Beam is what it's called. So yeah, that resort was one of my favorites. And we had, you could stay in, I actually blogged about clunking my mom in the head with my casts because I had broken both my wrists one year. But you could stay in like they had like a whole, like hotel, is more like, a motel pretty much, that was attached to the resort. And then there were also cabins, and we had a cabin we'd stay in most year with my aunt and uncle, and it was like right on the lake, and it was just so cool. I was fishing, I'd go fishing. Yeah, it was a really special place. So that's a really fond memory for me from my childhood. That and my grandma. So that was a fun question to think about. Sometimes we don't think about that kind of stuff, I feel like. Okay, next I'm going in with deep brown eyeliner, and I'm just gonna line on my lower lash line. Stick with a brown, do what you want, obviously, but I like to stick with a brown. It's just softer. I feel like the black can be so hard and harsh under your eye area, and so I like something a little bit softer, especially as you age. Don't want to draw too much attention to this area because we start getting a little, wrinkly. So do this right there. I had somebody ask me how I got into Star Wars. If you follow me over on Instagram, you know I'm a Star Wars fanatic, and most people don't know that about me unless you're over on Instagram, but I am like a super hardcore Star Wars fan. And somebody asked how I got into that. Well, when I was younger, my auntie, again, I was an only child, and my auntie, who didn't have any children either, she used to, on Friday nights, come over and we would watch Star Wars. And I don't even know how, look at the difference with eyeliner. I don't even know like how we got into it. My mom and I watched Star Wars in the first ones. The original, right? 4, 5, 6, over like 3 weeks consecutively on a Friday night when my dad he used to play basketball. So my mom and I watched it. I loved it. I just remember really liking it. I was quite young at the time. And then I got this box VHS set for Christmas one year. I still have it because I'm thinking like it might be worth some money someday, because like Anakin isn't Hayden. Like it's like the prequels, right? So I feel like maybe it's worth some money. And there's like a commentary by George Lucas on it. Anyway, geeking. I got this VHS, and my auntie was back in town, And she loved Star Wars, and she had actually worked on the set of the first Star Wars, which is so cool, like doing props and stuff, because she was a film student. And so she was super interested in watching it with me, and she'd come over on Friday nights again. So 3 more Friday nights, my mom and dad, my mom must have gone out with my dad or something. I don't remember, Saturday night, whatever. And she came over and we made popcorn and watched Star Wars and really got into it. And it was like after that, I just really got into it after seeing that second showing and just like, you know, watching his commentary and like getting into like what went into making it and all that. And so I really got into those original 4, 5, 6 trilogies. And then the prequels came out, which I was like so on. I think I was in like high school when those came out. And then I don't know, I just kind of reconnected with it when I was older. And now Revenge of the Sith is actually one of my favorites. It's the hardest one to watch for me because it's just like this tragic fall from grace, but it's one of my favorite ones, which is interesting because I didn't really like the prequels to start, like the prequels, but now that one's one of my favorites. And if anybody's wondering how to watch, I like watching it in this order. I don't do it chronologically. I like watching it Rogue One, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. You really could skip 1. Like it's kind of, I don't know, it's whatever. 6, 7, 8, 9. And you can throw Solo in there too if you want. That I would watch after like Revenge of the Sith, just for like some little bit of relief from the heaviness of it. That would be my recommendation. Like I said, Rogue One, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, Solo, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's the way that I would recommend watching it from a total Star Wars person. Okay, now I'm going to do lash primer. So you saw how basic my eyes are. I lined the top with black, by the way. So that's how I got into Star Wars. And now I'm just like more into it than ever since the new 3 came out, which The Last Jedi could be just thrown in the garbage. It was just a terrible, terrible, terrible thing he did with Star Wars. But anyway, that's a whole nother video. Okay, so now I'm going to do, while this lash primer dries, that's a really big key. Can I just tell you guys, let the primer dry a little bit because it works way better if you let it dry just a little bit. So I'm gonna go in with a little bit of highlight. So I had somebody ask me if I've ever had a pink Cadillac because you know what happened? My story is very interesting. So I started my business in Canada. I moved back to the States. I'm originally from the States. This is a blush that's discontinued, sorry. I did have a pink Cadillac. And I did when I was in Canada. I was a top 10 director in Canada. I was top 20. I was like number 7, number 15, back-to-back years, top directorship, broke record for the first time in the history of Mary Kay Canada for a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law to be in the top 10 together, which is super cool. We did that together. We were top 10 together. I think she was 9 and I was 7, I feel like. Pink Cadillac, directors, offspring 2 directors up there. Then I moved back to the States and it was a family decision. I basically had to start my business over. I had to go through a process to be able to even keep my status. I had to turn in my pink Cadillac. It was really hard and we moved back to Iowa and I had to like do all this while I was at Iowa. My husband took a job in Texas then. And so he was gone and suddenly I was doing this like solo parenting thing, right? And then we moved to Texas. And now we're back in Iowa. So for the last, few years, I haven't been able to run as hard as I would have liked to run. But I mean, I'm okay with that. Like, you're just going different seasons of your life. There will be a time again that I can run with all my might. And I will. I've done it before. I'm very sure I can do it again. But I'm just not there right now. Like, my goal is to just... take care of my unit and be a great leader for my unit and lead by example and with a service heart and do videos for those of you that want more for your own businesses and make sure that my directors in Canada are okay, which they totally are. They're cooked. They're good. They're just like, we just are like really good friends. And obviously, bounce stuff off of each other. They're like my sisters. And just work my own business and share stuff that I love with people. So that's where I'm at right now. And that's just the season of life that I'm in. So I am in a car, but I take the cash. And that's really cool. Because I drive a bus pretty much because, I have 3 kids and we're very busy hauling kids around all the time. And so I drive a bus. And so the cash compensation is really great for me because it covers the cost of my bus. And so, yes, I have had a pink Cadillac. I have pictures of me in a pink Cadillac and me with tea and hats. They were so tiny. And it was awesome to have a pink car. Everybody should drive a pink car sometime in your life. Okay, I mink my mascara, Lash Love Lengthening. Some people hate Lash Love Lengthening and I just don't understand it, but it's okay. Like consultants don't love it as much, but I do. I like it because it has this hooked wand and I just feel like it's a really great last step on your lashes. It just like separates them and curls them. And I think it's really great. I had somebody ask me what my favorite Mary Kay product is. That is so hard, you guys. Because we really are like a couple different things. We're skincare, we're body care, we're sun care, we're fragrance, and we're makeup. I focus more typically on the makeup and skincare side of it. The others are just kind of like offsets. So I have to split it. My first thing is like skincare is so important. I think people waste way too much money on makeup and they're not taking care of their skin. Like you need to take care of your skin because your makeup is only going to go so far if you have not very good skin. So I would probably say my favorite product is the new 3D cleanser. It's epic and amazing. It cleanses, it tones, it exfoliates, and it brightens all in one step. And I don't have time for 25 steps. So I love the simplicity of it and the effectiveness of it. And it's got encapsulated resveratrol in it as well, which is like gentler retinol. So it's like gentler on your skin, but still super anti-aging. The other thing I really love too is our facial peel, which is a glycolic peel. That's like my secret weapon. I don't think enough people are using it. It's like an in-home chemical peel, pretty much. That's safe enough to use in home. Obviously not like as strong as that, but pretty much the same concept. And it's so incredible. And I love, love, love it. So those are my two favorite skincare products. And then makeup wise, I would definitely say the CC cream. Like CC cream is life for me. Which is almost a skincare product too because it moisturizes. But anyway, and then the other one I can't live without is Beach Blonde and it's discontinuing. I'll have to order like 100 of them. So yeah, those are like my two favorite products. Lip primer. My lips are kind of in bad shape right now. I should satin lips. They're dry. It's dry here. I had somebody ask me my favorite Mary Kay memory. And I would say it was top 10 with my mother-in-law. It was just the whole year, everything that my unit had been through, the support. I think it was just the overwhelming support of my unit for us to do this and what it meant. And we were such a baby unit. And we had never done unit club before. We went from like doing 280,000 retail to 630,000 retail in 1 year. It was incredible. Like it was just a moment in time forever. Again, like stapled in my brain of what that accomplishment was. Like we came, we saw, we conquered, we did it. It was so cool. And to be able to stand on stage representing them and representing where I came from, which was from my mother-in-law's unit. So it was also representing them in a way. And then, you know, going on to the top director trip and doing London, which was so cool. I think that was probably my favorite. That or when they delivered the pink Cadillac and my girls were with me and just them witnessing that and seeing that because I think it instills work ethic into them. I'm trying really hard to raise functioning members of society. I want them to be able to contribute someday. So I like to think that my work ethic hopefully trickles down into them and they understand if you work hard and help enough people, you'll eventually get what you want. So okay, so the color I'm going to use is Trademark Pink, which is a new semi-matte lipstick we got. I've literally never put this on my lips. So, I mean, here's hoping. It reminds me a bit of Always Apricot, which is like my favorite lipstick, and a little bit of Mauve Moment. I feel like it's like somewhere in between those. So let's see. And I wear those two all the time. This is the semi-matte, so it's definitely matte. They still are gel, so they're not incredibly drying. I do tend to like the semi-shine formula, but I don't wear it as much. I don't know why. Oh, that's pretty. I can wear this. I can definitely wear this. I don't know about you guys. Are you somebody that puts lip gloss over top of everything? Because I do. I don't know why, but I do. What do I have here? Let's use, sorry, Pink Diamonds. It's not available anymore. I'm that terrible friend that's like, these are amazing. Not available. There you have it. And now, finishing spray. There's like a method to do this, but I just close my eyes and spray. Okay, so that's it. I should probably get my hair somewhat functioning here, but you can see that that's my super basic look. I think I had lipstick on my teeth. I do. Hello, Lauren. Gong show. All right, so there we go. And I was able to answer a few questions. I didn't get to all of them, sorry. I am a talker. But that is my really basic look. If I wasn't talking to you, it would take me 5 minutes. Seriously, I've timed myself. I've done a hyperlapse on it too. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, you guys, and this kind of getting ready together segment. And if you want to see more of them in the future, it could be like getting ready for bed. We could like do our skincare together or whatever, or I could do a different look that you want me to do, then I definitely will. And if you have any questions like you want me to answer for a future Q&A, tell me in the comments below and I will definitely do that. I'm pretty much an open book, you guys. Like I love doing Q&As and interacting with you guys and talking with you guys. So please make sure that you're asking questions or feedback or anything. If you enjoy this, give it a like. I'd love if you would go follow me on Instagram at Girls, Goals, and Gong Shows and check out my blog at girlsgoalsandgongshows.com. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell if you want to stay up to date on my videos. I hope you all have a really great week and I hope you enjoyed this. It's something kind of different.